Are we live? Oh my
We're
God, we are
live.
live. How about
We're
that? Hey,
live.
let's go. I was caught off guard there, and I shouldn't have been. Welcome, fight fans. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's show. We are so excited to break down UFC 308. You could argue it's the fight of the year between Ilia Topuria and Max
Let's
Holloway. Like,
go.
you can't really brainchild many better than that, even if you try. But loaded fight card, main card has tons of ranked fighters and stuff. But Maddie, I want to start with a little bit of review because it is always nice, whether you're playing basketball, whether you're betting on sports, to see one go through the hoop. And Maddie, last week in the main event, you saw one go through the hoop. Your guy Fluffy Hernandez came through for you again. Your general emotions and what the night was like to you overall.
Oh, it was a roller coaster, bro. I had a good PFL card going, and then it ends so great. I mean, before Francis, I was doing great, so I
Yeah,
was going like this up the PFL card, then this, and then Francis at the end of the night. I hit a big money line bet on him. I
yep,
missed on the round two sprinkle, which I had a bad gut feeling about because I was like, is he just gonna finish him in the first round? And of course he did. He made it look easy. So I was up and down in PFL. UFC was started off same way, up and down, and then pretty bad, and then dude, Fluffy Hernandez. So I had to sweat the round two because I had round three, four, five. I don't know what was the worst sweat. The round two, him
on
not getting
round one.
finished. No, not the round one. I'm talking about what was sweatier, him not almost getting finished in round two, or then almost not getting finished in the fight. I was
Yeah,
sitting there like, dude, this fight, his corner, I thought Michel Perez's corner was going to stop the fight because no one in his corner thought he was going to come back, dude. He had nothing
right.
left out of his shots. He was just taking life altering damage. I couldn't believe they didn't stop that fight in the third or fourth round. And I'm sitting there, 2.5 minutes to go. I'm like, am I about to lose this shit? But I hit the round five prop, 12-1. I even had a 33 or 38-1 round five KO prop that I didn't even
Nice.
show on social media. I hit that too, but that was for like a very small sprinkle.
Sure.
But that was a nice win. But yeah, I hit the 12-1 just round prop, which was nice. So Fluffy's the real deal. He pressures you. He's kind of like a Bilal and a Marab, but he's more damaging than those guys.
Yes.
But his pace and his pressure is very similar.
And the weight class is a big difference where there are a lot of middleweights that can't maintain that sort of pace. Like you even look down the road to
100%.
a matchup with Dricus du Plessis, and it's like I like Dricus a lot, but he breathes pretty heavy
Yeah.
after a first couple 2.5 rounds. Hernandez made it look easy. And by the way, my worst beat in that fight was not. Yeah, I thought Michel Pereira's gas tank would have lasted longer than it did, but
He was
he got
tired in
ground.
round two.
He was really tired in round two, but that's the pace
Yeah.
they were going at. The worst beat was I had under significant strikes, thinking, okay, with Fluffy's going to mop the floor with this guy, then at least Pereira won't be scoring significant strikes, and that
Yeah.
was the case. He just set a UFC middleweight record for significant strikes in the
Crazy.
fight. So the total strike prop didn't hit for me. I'd rather move
Crazy.
on. I had some fights on Saturday where like it was a two outcome fight, and I feel like no matter which side I bet, it probably would not have gone particularly well for me. So, I'm trying to get it turned back around, but thankfully, I think there are a lot of these fights this week, Manny, at 308 feels stable. It feels like we have a good idea. I don't
Yeah.
think we have a lot of two outcome fights. We kind of have
Right.
fights that will either be close or they won't, and then we evaluate the prices within. So it'll be a good one to go through, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only two outcome that could make sense is like Whitaker 3-4-5, Hamzat 1-2, or
Like
something
that's
something
yeah,
similar
that's
to that.
yeah, and I for whatever reason I always hate giving away profit like with hedges. And if I had just hedged in
Yeah.
smarter places, I might have had a very different Saturday. But
Yeah.
we were up 25 units last pay-per-view for me. I feel like I do better in general when we have more data, and this card has plenty of it. So why
Yeah.
don't we dive in here? We have 13 fights remaining. Unfortunately, we lost Saeed Nurmagomedov off the card earlier this week.
Dude.
Yeah, he was gonna fight Daniel Santos in a banger. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, bro. I'm big on Saeed Nurmagomedov. He's made me so much money by sub. he's my he's one of my favorite submission guys.
He could have definitely got another against Daniel Santos, the shooter box guy, falling right into
Yeah.
one. It was definitely on the table, but we'll have to table Saeed until for another day, and it kind of shifted up the bout order, which brought this fight to first on the card. I found it a little interesting given that Rinat Fakhretdinov, now still unbeaten in UFC, one of the better prospects at 170, big win on his resume over Brian Battle. He's now drawing a newcomer on short notice here. This was going to be Nursultan Rizaboyev. It is now Carlos Leal Miranda, PFL alum. We've seen him competing for $1 million in PFL, so it's not like he's a total stranger. So, Maddie, Rinat here minus 250 on the other side. Obviously, the underdog working uphill, but we've been a general pro Rinat podcast. What do you think about this spot for him?
Yeah, man. Rinat just he looks really great, and then he looks not so great. But I think the Nicholas Dalby fight, I just think that's a testament to how tough and how good Nicholas Dalby has become.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like this is a solid, buy low spot on Rinat Fakhretdinov. I know he feels a little pricey at minus 250, but I think he's got a massive grappling edge here. The Kevin Lee, I remember that Kevin Lee fight that was basically a round one knockout. He ended up guillotining him. And then I'm echoing here. Hold on.
A little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's coming out the computer now, Mike. Give me 1 second, bro.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Sure we didn't. Yeah, I can. We got a little bit of an echo though. We'll take
It's
care
coming out
of
the
it
computer
here.
though. Talk again.
I think we got
we're
it
good now.
resolved.
We're good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
okay.
We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't be
Alright.
a UFC pay per view if we didn't have a little audio issue for good luck.
But no, I like Rinat Fakhretdinov's grappling advantage here. You just have to ask yourself, is he going to be able to put him away? I could even see maybe a late stoppage here, but I like Fakhretdinov as far as a pick.
Yeah, I saw Hajiv was on over 2.5 rounds in this fight. Weird grappling advantage where like Rinat is a guy that at this point you feel like he is almost assuredly going to get takedowns on guys. Now, I've been a generally pro Rinat guy. I am a little concerned for him in that I would have thought against Nicholas Dalby pushing 40, he could have done a little better on his takedown accuracy than 5 for 11.
Yeah.
I made one of my bigger bets of the year on that regard, and it was quite a bit of a sweat. But Dalby is a grinder; he's a guy that'll do that. I kind of feel that way about Leal, though. Just one career loss via submission. His only 2 losses in PFL were to Sadabu C, who's much more of a striker. It's a very different type of matchup. We're not seeing this fight line go the other way, where Fakhretdinov was actually down to like minus 210 or so on Sunday. Now he's starting to take money again on short notice here. So I agree with you, Maddie, in that I think this is a longer fight. I think both of these guys have really good survivability. Leal's on short notice, so that could be another point in your direction about a potential last minute finish. But in general, I when I look at plus 190, I think it's very possible Leal covers this. I'm a little concerned about Fakhretdinov's cardio when he was really in trouble late in that Elijah Zaleski dos Santos fight. Seemed to be a little bit out of gas in the Dalby fight. Like, I'm a little worried about a gas out at this certain price tag, but I really don't have a specific angle that I want to play here.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, I almost wonder if the first fight by submission trend continues here.
I certainly would prefer Rinat if we're playing that angle.
Of course, yeah. I mean, do you think Leo's really fought that many submission threats though?
Well, I mean, PFL can be a weird one for that. When you look at who he fought in PFL, he had Zawada, who's more of a striker. He was with UFC, Ray Cooper, so he probably hits high level competition. No, not really great ground fighters.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see like any particular high level ground fighter on this particular resume. Maddie, I think you're talking me into Fakhretdinov a little bit, especially when you talked about the buy low spot, because I was kind of underwhelmed with him. But is that a little bit of Dalby is just always such a good threat to cover his number,
Yeah. Yeah, I would even maybe look at a submission decision double chance play here, take the juice down some.
Yeah. Let's see if we've got props on FanDuel for this guy already. It'd be delightful if we did.
Negative.
No, we don't have that. We don't have them yet. Let's see if we can pull up shadysportsbook.com and get like a rough idea. I just want to know a rough idea of the total. I'm guessing it'd be like over 2.5 rounds here. Probably pretty heavy favorite if I had to bet. Yes.
I want to see the sub prop just out of curiosity.
You could just evergreen that for every fight we've ever talked about, man. I don't see. Yeah, this is a last minute fight as well, Maddie. So that could be why we don't really have anything on
Yeah,
it.
we'll see what happens.
Over 2.5 minus 210 at shadysportsbook.com. So I was just about exactly correct that I thought it was going to come in that minus 200 area. I think you play Fakhretdinov late if you play him. Maybe round 3 decision. Depending on what that number comes in, could be decent because then you could get the survivability aspect. But yeah, it's a tough.
Yeah.
I think it's a tough fight for a prop. But Maddie, if you went sub there, I wouldn't blame you. That's one of those subs. You and I were talking about some subs before the show. That's one of the ones I circled as a maybe. So
Yeah,
we'll
and he
move
hasn't
forward.
had one. He hasn't had one in a minute either.
Yeah, he hasn't.
He did some. He also did some grappling. Craig Jones subbed him, which that nothing wrong with that.
I'm gonna forgive that one.
Yeah. His last sub was the guillotine choke on Kevin Lee, which
On
was pretty
Kevin
much a
Lee.
KO.
Yeah.
Club and sub. Yeah, he hasn't. And then before that, in GFC 11, he had a submission back in 2019. Was really his last true sub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That win over Brian Battle, guys have not been able to get Battle to the ground since that fight. Like AJ Fletcher tried and he got submitted. Like it really has aged well on Fakhretdinov's resume because there wasn't a second of that fight he was losing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I keep coming back to and being pretty high on Rinat. So why don't we move on here? And we'll talk about this next fight on the card, which I'm glad I get to reevaluate because earlier in the Discord, and by the way, here in the episode description, the Home of Fight Discord, I always want to give that guy a shout. You can get free picks like mine, Clint McLean from the Die Hard MMA podcast. Maddie will post his picks in long shots there. But also you can get our premium pick service as well through Hayden, Hey Jive Picks, Nolan, the Parlay MMA, as well as Octagon Kings with JJ. So a lot of good people giving out picks and information and analysis there. Always have a link there. And I gave out a bet in this fight earlier this week, but it was at a very different number. So as we sit here, Ismail Naurdiev taking on Bruno Silva. He's now minus 162 when this fight was closer to a pick'em earlier this week. I think we've seen some closing line value absolutely disintegrate in UFC in recent weeks. Maybe Naurdiev coming back after a long layoff away from the promotion is the next episode, or maybe Bruno Silva's losing streak continues here. Really interesting intersection of these guys' careers. So, Maddie, when you look at these two, what do you think of this matchup and who are you kind of leaning toward?
I'm assuming you got Ismail at closer to a pick'em.
I did. I got him at minus 120, which was a very different number.
Yeah. Yeah, Bruno Silva, man, he's not the oldest guy in the world, 35, but he has some mileage on him,
Yeah.
It's still crazy to me. What's he have? 20 wins by knockout and 0 losses by knockout? Isn't that insane?
That is crazy.
You look at the submissions, 0 wins and 7 losses. And then the decisions, he's basically batting a 50% when it goes the distance. I think Ismail by decision here is going to be the move.
Yeah. Let's see. We do have props on FanDuel. So Ismail points is plus 370. By the way, Ismail knockout, the shortest outcome of this fight. So there's gold in this prop market where you just said Bruno's a guy that doesn't get finished and doesn't get knocked out. I mean, Naurdiev's knockout is the smallest prop here. So when we're looking at trends, there's some gold in here.
Yeah, 100%.
So what do you think of that number, points plus 370 for Naurdiev?
I love that number.
So this was going to be a spot I was going to ask. Maybe you think about taking a submission. Bruno Silva has all those submission losses on his resume. Yeah. Now, some of them, like the Gerald Mearshart fight was a little bit of a club and sub scenario, but I just
so is the Bruno Silva too, or not the Bruno Silva, the Brendan Allen one was a club and sub too.
Yeah. Yeah,
so you have to wonder if there's value in the KO. He's got to get KO'd eventually. What's that number?
And he is getting older, which, by the way, intersects with when you would expect that to
35,
happen.
35, yeah.
I'm taking a look at Naurdiev's splits here.
Is this on FanDuel or no?
What are you looking at? Knockout. So knockout for Naurdiev is plus 280, submission plus 440. Which leaves the inside the distance prop at plus 125, which I think is a pretty solid proposition. Yeah. that favors decision if he's going to end up getting it done. But the reason why I like Naurdiev here, I was able to model it. By the way, Ismail's last fight in UFC came against Sean Brady. Womp womp ended up not getting that done. He has a win over Michael Prazeres, the grappling guy that got cut from UFC like 2021 or so.
Yeah.
I like Naurdiev here. I think he's going to be pretty efficient with his takedowns. 71% accuracy last time we saw him. Bruno's been a hardish guy to take down, but once you get him there, he's very susceptible to control. My model
Agreed.
looks at Silva's striking defense as a huge red flag. I actually am showing points the most likely outcome for
Yeah.
Naurdiev, 48-ish%. So
Yeah.
I think, by the way, if I tack on points here, I'm going to do what I said in the show. I think I'm making mistakes. I think the obvious hedge is Bruno Silva round 1 KO. He has shown the ability to put guys out quickly. He KO'd Brad Tavares in the first round. He
Yeah.
KO'd Wellington Turman in the first round. I think if he's going to win this fight, it is quite literally just by having the power to put this guy's lights out. And it's
Yeah.
8-1, so it's a perfect hedge spot to me.
Yeah. I think I'm going to play Ismail by decision in this one. I just like the number on it.
It's a great number. That's model approved. Maybe if we build a decision lay at the end of the show, Maddie, I feel
Yeah.
like that'll give us some juice on it when some of these other decisions are pretty short because of the totals.
I like it. Let's run it.
I think it's a chain reaction where you can't have the total too high in that fight because of Silva's knockout danger. So when you chain reaction that out, you got to keep the decision for Naurdiev and a near pick 'em lower. So I think we get good value in that fight. So why don't we move on to a fight that we'll talk about value because it's actually the largest favorite on this card. Farid Basharat. A Basharat bro fighting means we've got chalk to lay. He's minus 700 as we sit here on FanDuel right this second against Victor Hugo. This is a really high-level fight for like the third fight of the night. I mean, either one of these guys has been finished since I was in high school pretty much. And they've both been doing this a long time. They have extensive pro careers. Basharat undefeated at 12-0 at this point. When you see this number, what do you think? Because I have a general angle of how I want to play this fight that seems obvious to me, even though we don't quite have the number yet.
Yeah. Guys, real quick, because I just want to address something. I'm getting a lot of comments in the chat. Please, if a Matty Betts account is messaging you on Facebook or wherever, please look at their profile, make sure it's me. There's so many fake accounts. I reported so many of them, but people are getting scammed left and right. So I just want to address, all these comments that people are saying. Please be careful. Please don't get scammed. Just I'm never gonna ask anyone for money. So there you go. Don't fucking fall for it. Anyways, this almost feels like another decision piece here. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, though. But this is is he a bigger favorite than Kennedy?
Yes, he is. He moved past Kennedy. Well, Kennedy's come the other way a little bit as well. So Basharat points here minus 135, Matty.
Yeah. Minus 135?
Yeah.
That reminds me of last week or the other week on Grant Dawson, and he finished him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you make of Basharat by submission at plus 330 here, bro?
So my initial lean before I did any sort of research is that I was kind of leaning Basharat by later finish, so like round 2, 3 in this spot. But the more I dug into Victor Hugo, you look at some of how he's graded out through 2 UFC appearances, plus 1.21 striking success rate. Guy has unbelievable level of competition just from the regional scene. Now, UFC hasn't been very good. He's made his debut against Pedro Falcao, guy that's flamed out of UFC before. But like the biggest thing about Hugo is he stopped 12 of 13 takedowns in his debut from Falcao, who is a wrestler. And Basharat is a guy that will try to mix it up. He took down Taylor Lapilus 5 times, but we saw this with his brother Javed against Ayman Zahabi, is that if the takedowns are not coming, and this one's at distance, there's not a lot of punching power. I think it could be pretty close. I almost kind of want to play Hugo plus 3.5 here. I think that this fight could end up pretty close when Hugo is a patient, low volume striker, very few scoring moments. Like I would be sweating my tuchus off if I had minus 700 on this guy because I just think it's going to be a very close fight.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. What's the fight to go the distance?
So this fight, I mean, it's got to be. It's so
minus,
big. Well, it's
Oh, it's
minus
minus
196. Not
195.
as big as I thought it was going to be.
What is with that? That seems
That's
really
weird.
short.
Yeah,
Or really
we've yet
cheap. I
to
mean,
see
really cheap.
either one of the Basharat brothers finished in UFC. I think that would be a tall task. Hugo didn't really show a lot of urgency for the finish in his last fight. That almost makes me wonder, like, is Basharat going to drown this guy late? Um, yeah, so
Might
Basharat
be,
round two
yeah.
plus 800, round three plus 1400. That's not terrible. When I generally feel good about Hugo's cardio. He's gone 5 rounds on the regional scene just fine. I wish I had better UFC level data on him, but like
Yeah,
in
that's the
general, I
hard
feel like
part.
the Bostrat guys aren't guys to separate. There's another over 2.5 I saw Hayden on earlier. Like,
Yeah.
um, I ultimately I think if you can stop the takedowns against the Basharat brother, it's going to be a close fight. That's my general hypothesis. But and in this fight, if I get a +3.5, which aren't available on FanDuel, but you can get them on other books, it's probably going to be like +200. So I don't even have to play a full unit to win one.
Yeah.
If Hugo can steal a round here or there, and we've seen questionable cardio at times, like it's
Hmm.
when I talk myself into that, I think this is a ridiculous number, but very well what is most likely to cash by a good margin is Basharat decision -135, which is really
Yeah.
shitty. It's like I think it's a bad number, but it's also overwhelmingly likely the outcome of the fight.
Right. I'm with you.
So you don't have as so like when I talk about Fakhretdinov 2-3 or Basharat 2-3, you much prefer Rinat, right?
I think so. I just can't trust Basharat to get anyone out of there.
Yeah, it's just so tough. I just don't feel like now he does have a submission on his resume. He submitted Mendonça, who's been fighting at flyweight. So we've seen it before, but Hugo is such a durable dude. The last time he
He's
finished
yeah.
2014, and that was an
Yeah, that's
injury in
true.
2014. It wasn't even like a knockout loss or
He
anything
submitted
like that.
Cledson Rodriguez, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Basharat did.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Taylor Lapilus. What
I
Taylor
got
Lapilus?
I got Cledson Rodriguez and Mendonça confused because they're both flyweights with colored hair.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
Mm.
either one, he was too small for Farid Basharat. That's what it came down to. But like,
Yeah.
I know this is a fight I don't want to go big at because
Agreed.
overwhelmingly Basharat's gonna win an ugly decision. But like, I also don't feel like paying -135 for it. So I think we
Agreed.
can hit next because this is a fight
Let's
that I know you're
go.
excited about. This is a fun ass fight. That I will say. No matter which side you're on, Kennedy Nzechukwu taking on Chris Barnett. Now this one at heavyweight, Kennedy was going to move up. I forget who his originally scheduled opponent was, but Kennedy was going to move up anyway. He's done with 205. He's a mountain of man, so I get it. And now he's taking on maybe the shortest heavyweight on the roster. It's such a fun juxtaposition with Chris Barnett at 5'9". But I'm glad to see Beast Boy back in there. Had to pull out from UFC Vegas 98 a couple weeks ago because of the hurricane. So Maddie, Chris Barnett, one of the bigger underdogs on the card. You already put out a call to social media to say, hey, come take money out of my wallet because I'm betting Barnett by KO here. What's your read on that with him in this fight with Kennedy?
Yeah, I don't have the craziest read. I was more having fun with social media. Now those posts are going crazy. And I
Yeah.
said 25 cents per like. I think Instagram's up to, I want to say 5,000 likes right now. Hold on.
Woo. Okay.
I think, here, let me take a look. The Instagram post is up to 4,800 likes. Twitter is up to 950 likes. And then whatever TikTok and Facebook is, it's probably a good 8,000 likes. So what's that?
Yeah.
$2,000 so
Okay.
far, right? But yeah, no, I've cashed on Chris Barnett by knockout. I'll never forget it. I was at Circa in Vegas. I was watching on my iPad at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And Barnett puts away Jake Collier round 2.
Yeah, he did. I remember because I had Collier round 1 KO. He had him hurt early, like badly, and then Barnett was able to come from behind and knock him out.
Yeah. I mean, bro, I do think it's live. I'll tell you that much. What do you think Kennedy's going to weigh in at?
It's a very good question. I'm guessing that Kennedy, because of his size, was probably cutting close to 30 pounds to get down to 205. I think he'll weigh in around like 240.
That's what I would say as well, around
Yeah.
235, 240.
And I'm very intrigued with him in this division. in general, because he is very fast. We've seen him grab Devin Clark's neck from a standing gilly. He's not going to have a height or reach issue with anybody. It's a little like when John Jones moved up. Obviously, very different talent, right?
Yeah.
But like he's got a lot of interesting tools.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, look, I mean, but he's also not a high volume guy, so I don't know that he's gonna get. Is he gonna really gas Barnett out? I don't know.
Um, it it's interesting you say that. I think Barnett's two UFC losses, like he gasped pretty bad against Martin Budai, and then Ben Rothwell was
Yeah.
actually able to submit him in the second. It's a shame I saw that earlier because I had this circled like on my notepad. I wanted to talk you into Kennedy's sub here, just because we've seen it before, and we
Yeah.
actually saw Kennedy with 4 takedowns against Carl Roberson a ways back. My prior on Chris Barnett is I don't think he can grapple at all. So if you take the smartest game plan possible, which is not a given with a safe Sayoud guy from Fortis MMA, I think you avoid Barnett's power shots. You get him down on the ground and you control him. I actually am leaning the over in this fight. Over 1.5 is plus 120 right now on
Yeah.
Shady Sportsbook. But Barnett is a guy that we've seen when he's won. It was Jean Vellante getting super tired. It was Jake Collier getting super tired. I don't think Kennedy's going to have any problem going 15 minutes here, and that could be an advantage for him, especially in this area of heavyweight. Like guys like Derek Lewis, guys like, I mean, you throw your guy out there, they just don't have very good cardio. We've seen Kennedy go 15, no
Yeah.
problem. Like I think there are going to be good numbers on Kennedy later into this fight because the one thing we know about Kennedy to this stage, not a guy with like crazy knockout power.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't get there on the sub though. I mean, Ben Rothwell had 12 wins by submission. You know, that was just a complete mismatch. It's hard for me to see Kennedy come into this fight and grapple Chris Barnett. Like, you're gonna be faster, you're gonna be more technical. Like, you're going up to heavyweight. You would like to I just think his game plan is gonna be to strike with him and try to put him away on the feet. But I mean, maybe Barnett does like a backflip and fucking knocks him out with like a spinning back kick or something. This dude is massively athletic for his size. I just think, and Kennedy, man, his chin, he gets touched and he gets put away. I mean, I'll never forget when on the cruise ship I cashed the round 1 knockout against him. The Dustin Jacoby. It was Dustin Jacoby round 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who else? It was Dawoon Jung put out Kennedy
Yep.
the first round, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe Kennedy gets a little cocky, not cocky, but like he probably thinks he can do whatever he wants to these heavyweights, you know?
I would not be cocky if I were him, given his resume. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And then the OSP loss is aged even worse now. That OSP went out and got slaughtered in round 1.
I mean, he ran into Ryan the Hammer Span. I mean, Span would do bad things to Nzechukwu in the first round as well. Like he is for their teammates at Fortis, but like for the first round, Ryan Span might be the best 205er on the planet, and then everything after that turns into a disaster. But like I'm just worried about Barnett's conditioning. Like this is, to me, this guy is a guy that they plucked off years ago as a regional guy. The Jean Vellante knockout, the head kick and the backflip, bro, was absolutely hilarious. But I look at Barnett, like 40% striking defense. He's very tough. Like you say, for his size, like how big he is, he's very athletic, but probably below average athlete for the division in general. Like I at the very least, I think his one chance to win is knockout. That's largely what my model sees. And he's going to be a big underdog. So you're going to get a big number on knockout no matter what here. It's going to be
What do you think it's going to be?
6 to 7 to 1, probably, if I had to guess.
I'm feeling like plus 7.
But I think my angle here is going to be Kennedy. I think Kennedy round 3 decision is going to be a pretty big number, and then round 2 I'll also hedge off. Like Kennedy after the first is going to be my betting angle here.
Yeah. How many round 1s? I don't think he has many round 1 finishes at all.
No, he's not really a one round.
He's one back in 2018. He don't finish nobody in the first round.
Right, and that's why it's so weird to me. And Barnett's pretty durable. It's so weird to me that this over 1.5 is plus 120. I definitely think there's length to this fight.
Yeah, I like it. All right, let's move on. I'm hoping for a Chris Barnett round 2 body slam.
he's one of those guys. He's taken my money a couple times, but I honestly didn't even mind because he was so fun in the aftermath. Like it was, I actually had him against Volante. I take that back. But Maddie, this is one of those fights I had circled here next up that I need your opinion on because I have had sharp friends split, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Abus Magomedov taking
Hmm.
on Bruno Ferreira. This is anything but a squad red. There are sharps on both sides. Abu's probably the more technical guy. Bruno coming off all these round one knockouts with all of this power. So, are you taking the tortoise or the hare? I guess is my question in this fight.
You know, I've gone back and forth on this one a lot as well. Um, I think Abus could like edge out a decision in this fight, but like I think Bruno Ferreira has the finishing upside here. I think he could get a submission. I think he could get a big knockout. Um, I like his finishing upside in general. I still believe that Nursultan Ruzaboa finish was so fluke. Like I just don't think that was. I think he would win that fight 8 out of 10 times at least. It was a weird counter right to me. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
like these guys put out RoboCop. You know, he put away Dustin. He put away Phil Hawes, which who cares about that? But like,
Yeah.
I just think he has the finishing upside here. Also, round three is like sticking out to me like crazy for some reason in this fight. Like
For
round
like
for
how so?
I mean, I just think Abus like can gas and Bruno's power like is still there. I just think so. I just think Bruno has the ability to maybe get him out of there late. I know he's explosive in round one. Let me see what he's. Yeah, he's most of his finishes are all in round one though, but he's fighting a lot of low level competition.
Sure.
One, two, three, four, five. He's got like 7 round 1 finishes, so that might be the wrong read. What I just said. He doesn't have any round 3 finishes. All round ones and then a round two. I guess more of just we've seen Magomedov's gas tank go, but he wrestled his last fight against Worley Alves. I lost a lot of money at that fight. I had him inside the distance, and that was a
Yeah.
stupid read. Um, Kai Oberhallo beat him by decision. Strickland put him away in round 2. He's just a hard guy to read in general.
He is. Man, I mean, realistically, man, I think you could find a way to cover all angles here. I am always hesitant on modeling guys that meet one criteria. My criteria is either 45 octagon minutes, which I love, or 5 fights because guys like Tom Aspinall is not even at 45 yet. Like he's got
Yeah.
15 minutes to go, you know? So like how do I start to stabilize? Bruno Ferreira is one of these guys that he met the model criteria, so I put it up here, and I don't know how I feel about it because it's massively favoring Bruno. It's massively favoring knockout. It's favoring the unders. So round one knockout, Bruno Ferreira plus 600. I think you pretty much cover all of his win equity anyway. Whereas a boost to me is a more technical guy. I think is if the fight is prolonged, 60% takedown defense. I could see Bruno spending a lot of time on bottom here, and it's like I think Abus is the more technical guy. I think he's better, but that was the case with RoboCop, and he put him out in the first round anyway. You know, when Bruno starts swinging those hooks, anybody on planet Earth could go out. It feels like so. Um, I when you look at some of the numbers available in this fight, Maddie, I just said Bruno Ferreira round one KO plus 600. Abus round three decision is plus 340. Abus round two is plus 550. Like shit, I just kind of want to bet all of those, and I don't feel like I'd lose any money because I feel like Ferreira is early, and then Magomedov would come in late. But I just have a gut feeling, and so does my model. I think Bruno gets this guy out of here. I really do. Like I feel
Mm.
like Abus is a guy that in general negative striking success rate. We know he's got the cardio issues. Like and by the way, he looks awesome. Think back to the Sean Strickland fight when it's at distance, when he is at kicking range. Then he's gonna have this dude crash in the pocket against him. You know what I mean? I just think I think it's a bad matchup for him in that
Can I interest you in a Bruno round 1 submission at 18-1?
way. No, but I will take the round one.
Magomedov's gonna fucking wrestle, bro. If he wrestles and sticks his head out there, he's getting guillotined. I can see it already.
Yeah, I actually think Bruno's BJJ
Actually,
is pretty good.
didn't Worley Alves give a guillotine attempt in that fight?
Alves did have a guillotine attempt in that fight. I don't know if it was particularly close though.
I don't either, and he is gonna guillotine. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got 6 wins by submission. How many others?
I mean, the biggest thing about the Warley Alves fight, where I want to pump the brakes
Oh, he
on, like,
guillotined Colby Covington. That's right.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah. But Warley's fought his whole career at 170. Up at 185, Abus was just too big, too strong. Like, that
Right.
is not the case with Bruno. Bruno's a tried and true middleweight.
I'll tell you right now. I have weird feeling on the sub on this one.
On Ferreira. So I honestly think Bruno's BJJ is pretty good. We just haven't, like, when he was coming on the Contender Series, that's how he was billed. Is like, hey, this guy's actually a really good BJJ guy, and he's just been putting everybody out with his hands. So like, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But
he had a triangle back in 2021, a rear naked choke in 2021, and then an armbar in 2019. All outside of the UFC.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But yeah,
round
one.
I would hope with anything that he did not jump guillotine, because I think if he spends the rest of round 1 on bottom, he's losing the fight.
Yeah.
That's that. I would say please don't jump guillotine, but like, I honestly, with all of those combinations, like I said, you get Ferreira round 1, throw in the sub plus 430, plus 550 round 2 for a boost, plus 340 to win by round 3 decision. Like, I could bet a third of a unit on each one of those, and I'm up over a unit if any one of them cashes.
Yeah.
So I think you can play this early, late if you want to.
Are we so sure that Magomedov's cardio is really that much fixed though?
I'm not. He was in an incredibly friendly fight to his cardio, being able to take Alves down and control.
And the Caio Bravo fight, I'm pretty sure round 3 he was faded and Bravo almost got a finish. I need to rewatch that fight. I want to spend some more time on footage on this fight in general, but I will say, like, obviously it's a complete contrarian method to look at Bruno late here because he's never finished anyone late. But if you're playing the fact that you really do believe Abus fades, the payout could be insane on it.
Yeah, because the general tenor of the fight is what I think, which is Ferreira's kind of a round 1 hammer. But like, we haven't seen Bruno extended. I think this is almost a kind of a little bit of a buy low spot with Bruno, because he did not look good in that fight against Dustin Stoltzfus before before he found the back fist or the back elbow or whatever it was. But like, I in general, I think Stoltzfus is also a guy that is pretty talented and just has durability issues. So
yeah,
I don't hold that again. Like, Stoltzfus, remember, dominated Puna Soriano. Like, there are levels to this where I think Stoltzfus is not a bad guy to struggle against. So, we'll see. Abus is like, whenever people see a Magomedov in the betting name, bro, like, there's just naturally going to be chalk. There's going to be attention, but like, I'm a little underwhelmed by the package.
What's this fight to not go the distance? Because I think I was looking at the
minus
total.
380.
Is it that high?
Yeah. You want?
Oh yeah, it is that high. Yeah, okay.
So it's minus 380. My model verdict minus 345. So I'm almost in lockstep with odds makers.
Yeah, but you could get fight to not start round 3 at minus 200. It's not that bad.
No, it's not bad. That could be a safe parlay, but mix as well. Like, I don't think that Ferreira's lasting long if the early floor, especially if he goes hard for it. So it's just the thing with Alves though. It's tough. He's a 170er, so I don't think he really had a threat in that fight at all. So, Maddie, it's interesting. Yeah. Let me know. We may have to circle back on that and what you think of that fight with Moralio and how Abus looks. So we'll bookmark that one, and we'll move forward here to the next awesome fight on this card, which is Myktybek Orlobai. Our podcast guy, we are proud Orlobaians, or we'll come up with a fan club name here, taking on Mateusz Rebecki. Decently quick turnaround given what happened to him earlier this year in May with his eyeballs all swollen. But Rebecki wants to get back on the horse. These are two really elite lightweight prospects that'll go to war in Abu Dhabi. Maddie, with Orlobai at minus 330, what do you think of this fight?
I love Orlobai, bro. I love this guy. The Elvis Brenner fight. Elvis Brenner's just a savage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't take nothing from him, This is an interesting one, though. Is this a fight we could maybe see Orlobai's hands a little bit more? It's kind of a grappling matchup, right? But I think Orlobai's like, I think he's a savage, bro. That neck crank against Medic, 3 straight finishes prior to that Elvis Brenner fight. All in round 2, by the way.
Okay.
all 3 finishes in round 2, 3 fights in a row prior to Elvis Brenner. And I want to rewatch that Brenner fight, but I believe he had some opportunities to get Brenner out of there. But Brenner's just a dog, never gets finished until that Joe Alvarez fight, which Alvarez is just unbelievable how good that dude is.
Yeah,
So, and now even that stoppage, well, I don't want to say it was early because like he took a lot of damage, but he still didn't go out, you know.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I like Orlobai in this matchup. Rebecki's never been sub before,
Hmm.
never been put away in general.
Yep.
I wonder what the number is here.
So big reach disparity here, which we saw a little bit with Rebecki in that Ferreira fight where he was having trouble finding the home at distance. Man, I'm stunned when I look at these numbers. Can you believe this fight is plus 104 to go the distance, man? Wouldn't you? Which one of these guys is finishing each other, and how? Rebecki has elite BJJ. I don't think he's going to get
Yeah.
subbed. You said he's never been subbed. I
He's
don't think
been
he's subbed.
TKO'd. He's been TKO'd twice.
Man, like, so maybe Orlobai ground and pound, but like I think Myktybek points plus 170 is an awesome number here. I don't even feel like I've got to parlay him at any point because I can just bet the decisions,
I like a buy low spot on Myktybek here inside the distance. I just think he finishes mostly everyone except like absolute dogs like Elvis Brenner. Like
Yeah.
this dude's relentless. I think he got ground and pound. He's got submissions. I mean, I don't know. What do you make of Rebecki's competition? Because like
It's bad. Well, I mean, it's bad, and that proved to be the issue in
that's
the
the
Ferreira
problem,
fight.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I got to go inside the distance here.
Yeah, but I mean, he did have that really dominant win with leg kicks over Loic Radzhabov. Radzhabov's a guy that is pretty accomplished in this division in his
Yeah.
own right.
It's
It's
hard
like,
to get leg kicks against someone that's going to come forward, though.
yeah, exactly. And by the way, I think both of these guys. Another reason I like the over here at plus money. Both of these guys are really grapplers. I think they will be happy to fall into that sort of fight. Where with the problem with Rebecki is that I don't think he's got the size and the strength to out grapple Orlobai. I think he can survive, but he's going to spend a lot of time on bottom in this fight. That because Orlobai is so big, he's so strong. Really, the fight that sold Orlobai to me was the Uros Medic fight on short notice, 170.
Monster.
And by the way, he was taking shots clean in that fight with really no
Yeah.
issue. So, like, you're telling me Rebecki's going to
Right.
knock him out? I don't think so. If anything, Rebecki meme sub would be like the one way that I could see him winning. It's plus 1,000.
10-1, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I maybe we look at Orlobai in our safe parlay. You're leaning more inside the distance. I think points at plus 170 is a really good value. Maybe we just look at his money line, lock that in, or
Yeah.
maybe we take out sub and go. We did this with Kayla Harrison, knockout
KO
decision.
decision. Yeah, and it worked
Which
out
is,
well. It was a little sweaty at a couple points, but
minus
it worked out well.
160. Minus
Yeah.
160 KO.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going KO plus 300. I like the
It's a good
ground.
number.
I like the ground and pound here plus 300. I just think it's gonna be relentless. Rebecki's not gonna give up the back, and he's just gonna ground and pound him out. That's my prediction.
I might
I think
play
a KO lay is gonna be nice with him in it at 3-1.
I might just play KO decision, just both of those minus 160. I think it's a totally fair number. I think it's all his win equity. May just throw 1.6 units on that.
Let's run it.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, it's a good number, but I'm glad we're aligned on our guy Orlobai. We don't have to fade him this week. But
Yeah.
Maddie, we don't try not to talk to each other before the show. This is really the one fight I asked Maddie about because I don't really know what to do with it. I think I'm leaning toward fading my model, which is never a comfortable feeling here, but there's a reason why, and we'll get to it here. Between Geoff Neal, Rafael dos Anjos, a couple of older guys at welterweight. Geoff Neal minus 340, substantial chalk behind him for a guy that hasn't won a lot in his last 5 fights. So, Maddie, not the most reliable party, but do you like Geoff Neal here laying chalk? Are we looking at a specific prop, or maybe is it a dog shot with RDA?
I just don't know how RDA wins this fight at 170. I don't know what his path to victory is. I mean, Geoff Neal's got a really good takedown defense.
Yep.
He's mauling guys on the feet that have beaten RDA, like Luque.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. I mean, Rafael Fiziev is a great striker. Don't get me wrong, but he's a midget compared to Jeff Neal. You know, he put RDA away. That
Yep.
was in round 5. Um, I don't know how he wins. You know, I mean, I guess like I don't know how he wins. I think Jeff Neal has a chance to get a knockout here. You know, I would definitely play like maybe the KO decision line, depending on what it is. I mean, I'm sure it's probably pretty close to the money line.
Yeah.
But I think Jeff Neal has a chance to get him out of there too, and maybe even early.
I Matt.
Maybe even a 1-2 here.
Yeah, Maddie, I'm so with you, and this is why I'm the one blind spot, and I still haven't figured out how to account for this because it just doesn't happen very often. My model doesn't see weight class shifts; it looks at overall stats, and that it goes back and forth between. So that's kind of mixed in when you see Rafael dos Anjos has had trouble defending takedowns at 170. Here's the problem:
Yeah,
Jeff Neal weighed 202 pounds in the octagon the last time he fought against Ian Gary, and RDA is a lightweight. And really,
yeah,
so Jeff Neal's closer to a middleweight, and RDA is basically a 155 or. Like, I just think that
yeah,
this fight sets up really poorly for RDA, where he's just going to be outsized. It wouldn't surprise me if Neal actually was able to secure a couple takedowns in this fight, just because it's been such a problem for RDA. That's how Luke beat him. That's how Colby Covington beat him. Like, you throw out your 170. That's how Kamaru Usman beat him. Like, it's interesting that a guy I think will stand and trade with him at 170. I just don't anticipate it goes that much better when he's not even like wildly outperforming at distance. Really, the best he's done at distance was against your guy, Money Moicano, recently, but that was on like 4 days' notice. So,
yeah,
and he's like 40. I don't know how much is left in the tank for RDA. I think this is a terrible matchup, and let's take a look at the numbers in this fight, because like I'm with you. I could see him getting out of there early. I could see him mounting damage KO. He's not subbing him. I think we can agree on that because RDA's got legendary sub defense. But like this fight is minus 142 to go the distance. So if you look at method and round, so
yeah,
Neal KO1 is plus 500. It's plus 750 round 2, plus 1300 round 3, and then his decision prop is plus 130. I
yeah,
lean violence versus points if I'm only getting plus 130.
yeah. I agree. Plus 200 on the knockout. I mean, there's some decent knockout parlays here.
Yeah.
You know, some numbers that are like 2-1, 3-1. I mean, we could definitely throw one together.
Yeah. I'm with you on Neal a little bit more than I was Orlobai, just because of the size discrepancy. Yeah, poor RDA. Like you said, he did get chinned in the 5th round by Fiziev, so it's not
Yeah,
as if we've seen him be ironclad and durable, and it's almost a little hidden because Luke wrestled so much, because Gamrot wrestled so much. Man, dude, it's been a long, long time since this guy's had someone opposite that's going to try to take his lights out. I kind of lean 1-2 KO here, man, which is if you pile them together, it's plus 270 to
yeah.
get KO one
I mean,
or
do you
two.
think RDA is gonna be able to take him down once?
No,
I don't
Neal's
either.
got great takedown defense. Shavkat struggled there. I don't think he's going to be able to get takedowns in
That's
this
the
fight.
thing. And if you believe, and then even if you look at the Luke fight, Neal basically could have had a round 1 stoppage in that fight.
Yeah,
You know, which makes you like it even more earlier. And like the Ian Gary loss is kind of a good buy low spot off on Jeff Neal here. You know, you
if
go
he
from a
did just a little more, he could have won that fight.
right, right. I lost the camera. Never fucking fails, man. Never fails.
Well, it sounds like we were getting to the end of our rope. Maybe Neal
Yeah.
parlay piece, like so. Just so we bookmark this and know, KO decision on Jeff is it's minus 280. So you take quite a bit of juice off the line if you want to go KO decision.
Yeah.
Welcome back, by the way.
I'm
I'm happy
back.
to see your smiling face again, because we can look at the
Yeah.
featured prelim here.
No, what the
Rafael Cerquera taking on Ibo Aslan. This was moved to a featured prelim because it's expected to be nothing but pure violence. Ibo Aslan's fights have been thus far. We like violence
Oh
around here,
yeah.
Maddie, but I think this one is a pick 'em for good reason, because you got a couple of unproven guys that are willing to go in there and slug. So, Maddie, you have one of these guys that you like better than the other at this stage?
I've spent zero time on this fight, so I'm gonna defer to you here, bro.
Great that I hear that. I will say that in general, Ebo Aslan is a guy that I kind of like.
Yeah.
Trains at Extreme Couture with Francis Ngannou and Strickland and those guys at under Eric Nixick. I think the gym is awesome. Plus 2.30 striking success rate. I think a lot of people will make fun of his win against the Pleasure Man. It took him till the third round to get Anton Turkai out of their last fight. And the level of competition hasn't been great either, but to me, he's taken on a newcomer in Cerquera. I couldn't see myself laying the chalk. This line was actually moving against Evo. I was hoping to get plus money. This is nothing but a rock'em sock'em robots duel to the death. But Evo has been very durable, been very powerful and accurate himself. Fuck it, I'll roll the dice and I'll take the experienced guy at the gym I like.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to you on that one. I haven't spent any time on it.
Yeah. I mean, Cerquera comes in without any data. Obviously, not going to be my strong suit at that point. But like, I mean, we're working up. I really wish this wasn't the featured prelim. So
Makes no
Cerquera
sense.
11-0 coming in. Been with Demo Fight Promotion, which is a new one for me at least. Oh, dude, this guy's level of competition is basically Contender Series 6-4 regionally,
Yeah.
1-2 regionally. His level of competition is awful.
Right.
Mike, can we throw this up here? This was a fight that he took earlier this year, and now is fighting a guy from Extreme Couture in UFC. I'm going to throw this to you, Mike, so we can put it up here. Um, this is the stuff that we deal with and we find on the Contender Series. I am amazed that I found it on the featured prelim of this card. Like, it must have got moved just because this is going to be such a violent war. We also got a comment in chat. I consider myself a hardcore fan. I've never heard of Cerquera. That's because he's never been on the Contender Series. We haven't really seen him. Like, I have a hard time laying shot. Even it's a pick 'em. Like, give me the guy with experience that has good numbers. I was waiting for Mike to throw up this guy's opponent from earlier this year just so you could see him too. But maybe we could get it. Maybe we could get it on here. I'm asking him
Yeah.
to work on
He's
the format.
trying right now.
Okay.
What's the next one? Oh, it's the
Do we?
Charlotte one.
Yeah. So do we have props on this guy, the Aslan fight? Probably not.
Let me check. I don't. It might be because it's on the main card. Right?
Nope.
Actually, no, it's not.
It's
They don't
because
have it on the main card.
they just moved it to the featured prelim today.
Yeah, no props.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, they should move the Geoff Neal. The Geoff Neal card fight should be the first fight of the main card.
And it was scheduled. Oh, good, Matt. He's throwing it. That's who he fought earlier this year. It is now fighting Evo Aslan in the UFC.
Yeah.
This is the shit you see on the Contender Series when you're diving through. It's like, oh, this guy's barely an MMA fighter at all.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. So we should just hammer. We should hammer this dude then.
I'm gonna end up playing Evo round 1-2 KO. Now round 3 cashed in his last fight, so maybe I should be careful. But it's a good. This is not a fight to lay your whole bankroll on. It is a hard fight to have any confidence. But like, especially
all of his KOs are basically round 1 and then round 3.
crushing
Two
KO,
round 3,
baby.
He KO'd Robert Valentine in round 3.
Okay, but is it Valentine a middleweight? So he was like up in weight.
Yeah, no, I'm saying he has
Yeah.
some decent weight, some decent KOs. That's not a bad KO for Ebo.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Ebo's been fighting
For-
decent competition. He
Yeah,
got
yeah.
Cortez on the Contender Series.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going 1-2 with you, bro. I like it. You sold me.
Yeah, let's not
Let's
dump
run it.
the bankroll
Let's
on there.
put him in the KO parlay. Or there's
Yeah.
no number for it yet.
I,
But
I like Evo. I think he's fun. So yeah, and by the way, the line's moving against him, which is a perfect sign in nowadays in UFC if the line's moving against him. So, Maddie, why don't we look at this fight up next? We're on to the main card, and it is a guy that they are absolutely, I think, trying to build up, especially
Yeah.
when it's in Abu Dhabi, the only place that he can fight, really. Shara Magomedov taking on Armen Petrosian in a war of, like, Eastern European strikers, if you will. I guess Magomedov
Yeah.
from Russia, technically. But both of these guys fun in their own ways. Decently close betting line. Certainly the closest we've seen from Sharo thus far. So, Maddie, as the competition moves up, are you still buying Shara Pirate, Shara Bullet, or do you think maybe this is a spot where we look at the dog shot with Petrosian?
I'll tell you what, this number, the fact that it's not in the 200s and the fact that they're kind of sticking it, right? Or is it still around that? Hold on. What's it at right this second?
It's at minus
Mi-
174 right this
minus
second.
174. Tell me, would you not think that this number would have went to like minus two something?
The public would parlay it at minus 250. It wouldn't matter, you
Right,
know.
right. I'm telling you right now, like now Petrosian, coming off a round one loss, but it's just a different matchup. He got submitted by
By
Rodolfo Vieira,
Yep.
you know. But isn't it safe to say Petrosian has beaten guys similar to this dude, Christian Leroy Duncan? Kind of a crafty striker, beat him by unanimous decision,
Yep.
beat AJ Dobson by unanimous decision,
Yep.
beat Gregory Rodriguez by split decision, went the distance with Kaio. Like, I kind of feel like he's a little underrated here. He could get robbed on a scorecard, though, in Abu Dhabi, so that is a possibility.
Yeah.
I like this fight to go the distance. Petrosian really not getting put away
Yep.
unless he gets subbed. He did get knocked out once. Who was that?
It was a long time ago outside of UFC.
Yeah, that one is tough. This could also be a highlight spot for Magomedov here. So I don't know, but I do think that I'm gonna see what Petrosian by decision here is.
It's plus 230. It's a good number.
You think that's a good number?
I do.
Mm.
My model's got it.
He's plus 700 by knockout. That's crazy.
I can't. I can't. You'll talk yourself off your gut feeling because the number is not good enough.
Right.
Let's see. I actually don't. 30. Yeah, I've got Petrosian decision plus 155.
Yeah. Fight to go the distance minus 235.
Yeah.
Sign me up for that on a parlay piece.
Yeah, Maddie, I am totally with you. I bet Petrosian at plus 150 earlier this week because I actually think there's a non-zero chance he could end up knocking out Shara because Shara really bad striking defense. We haven't seen Arman really with a lot of punching power, but it's there. He had a head kick on the Contender Series, and I think you mentioned it. To me, this is the Christian Leroy Duncan fight. He's able to crowd his space, and Shara's boxing is terrible. It's really Shara is an unbelievable kicker on the perimeter, but he surrendered career high takedowns to both Michal Oleksiejczuk and Bruno Silva. Don't think he puts a lot of effort into the grappling whatsoever. We saw Petrosian get CLD's back. We saw him crowd his space. He landed a takedown over 3 minutes of control. Like Petrosian just knows he's just got to be in close in this fight and he'll be fine. And the biggest thing is that Shara also hasn't shown a lot of power. So is there really a lot of danger in eating a couple of those kicks to get into range? I don't think so either. I think this is UFC bailing on Shara actually in a way because like if you're gonna prop Shara up, why wouldn't you get some guy that is just like a punching bag, a can on the feet, a Tricoli in a different font here? Like it instead, Petrosian is such a talented striker himself, excellent striking defense metrics.
I mean they might just want to put a show on here, like a really this could be a pretty fun striking match.
Yeah,
this is a tough one, honestly. I just think it's very suspicious that this number hasn't ballooned up for the favorite, in my opinion.
I think that I just think that Petrosian is the side, man. Like this was one of the spots that I had circled. I was surprised my model favored Shara here, but that's because his offensive numbers are so outstanding to this point. But look at the competition. I mean, Michal Oleksiejczuk, we love him here. Doesn't defend body kicks at all. And then Tricoli, Bruno Silva we talked about him earlier being aged. It's whereas you look at Petrosian has had to go through RoboCop. He went through CLD. He went through Rodolfo Vieira, which I don't care about that fight at all when forecasting this one. It's completely different. It's like it's not even the same galaxy of MMA. He had to go through Kaio. Like we've thrown Arman Petrosian through the ringer, and Shara's gotten these really easy tailor-made matchups. So I think Arman's the side. I think he should be favored here, honestly. And,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I do. There's a lot Shara doesn't do well.
Dude, you mentioned he had Christian Leroy Duncan's back. Guess what the sub number is on this one for Arman?
What is it?
Plus 2,400.
Wow. I mean, so he hasn't really fought anyone besides Tricoli that has any sub danger, and Tricoli couldn't get him down. So
yeah. But if Petrosian gets him down, it's because he just uses the striking to do it.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like unexpected shot off of some striking or a club and sub, but I don't know, man. I'm so up in the air about Shara here. I don't know how good he actually is. He's very flashy.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like UFC would want to bump him in like a can crusher matchup here, and they gave him Petrosi, and I tweeted it yesterday. I think it's a terrible matchup for him, all
Yeah.
things considered. So we'll see how that fight plays out, and if Shara can pass the test. But from one banger, we move to another. How about this de facto title eliminator? Question mark at
Yeah.
light heavyweight. Magomed Ankalaev just wants a title shot, man. That's all the guy wants. He keeps getting the run around, and he's going to have to beat Alexander Rakic if he's going to end up getting any sort of look at Alex Pereira. I think UFC is trying to protect Ferreira here because this is a close fight between two guys who can do really quite a bit themselves, Maddie. Magomed minus 390 on the money line. Do you think that chalk is valid?
I do. I do. I think he's pretty much better everywhere.
Yeah,
I, just,
I agree with you.
but he's also a guy that doesn't seek finishes. I feel like I'm gonna get burnt if I take him by knockout here.
Yeah.
I think he might even 30-27 him. I want to take the knockout so bad because he's got 10 KOs. He does put guys away, but he kind of uses their aggression against them with like counter shots, and he's very patient and calculated. But the dude's 19-1. Like, let's not like just at a high level here. Forget both their names and who they are. 19-1 fighter fighting a guy that's lost 3 in a row. The
Yeah.
minus 390 is the value side to me.
Yeah.
I think Rocket is kind of like the trendy dog of the week that's going to get shot. Like, I think he's the dog that
Interesting.
I'd really do. I really do. Everyone's talking about him as like a dog shot here because he's on antibiotics or all this stuff in his last fight, and he was looking good. And I just think Ankalaev is a level above him.
Yeah, that last fight with Yuri was so interesting because it was like a pros versus Joes where there were a lot of sharps that were on Rakic, and then Yuri was more the public side. Like I took
Yeah,
Yuri, and like I just thought at the end of the day Yuri's pressure would be too much, and that's kind of what happened. Is Yuri stayed in his face despite getting absolutely mauled the whole time,
yeah,
never really discouraged. Rakic, to me, Rakic and Ankalaev are very similar in the fact that they both like to have these slow, ugly, close fights. Both of them do it. Like Ankalaev drug Tiago Santos out all the way. Guess who else went to a decision with Tiago Santos that sucked? It was Alexander Rakic, right? Like
yeah,
they both are very hesitant by nature, and if not prompted by a guy in your face, Jan Blachowicz applying pressure to Ankalaev's with leg kicks, I don't think there's a lot of activity here. I love Rakic plus 3.5 in this fight, like a point spread type of bet because he's such a distant money line underdog. You're going to get plus money on that. Hayden played the same thing earlier today. Hey, Geoff, was talking about potentially a plus 3.5 type of bet. I think that's the way to back Rakic in lieu of money line because I'm with you. I think Ankalaev is a little bit better everywhere. He's minus 110 to win by decision. My model's got Ankalaev minus 145 in this spot. I was surprised by that given Rakic's losing streak, but it really just comes down to the fact that Ankalaev doesn't have a lot of volume. Rakic actually has a volume edge on the feet, doesn't use a lot of wrestling. Like, it's just to me, this is a close. You're going to have guys scoring the fight 29-28 Rakic, 29-28 Ankalaev, because there's just not a lot to score on. And I like a spread here, but I can't really see either one of these guys putting each other out. If someone puts someone out, it's Ankalaev by KO, in my opinion. But
yeah.
um, I see this fight going to a decision more often than not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like Ankalaev by decision. I think. What is the
Yeah,
number?
minus
Is it,
110
dude? That's not that bad. That's really not that bad.
for a minus 400 favorite. I think it's by
Right.
far his most likely.
I would have thought it was minus 140. I was expecting
Yeah.
to see like minus 135, minus 140. We'll see.
So in a world where this goes to the judges' scorecards, my model believes Rakic wins more often than he doesn't,
That's
just
wild.
because of the volume advantage.
Yeah.
It's a weird fight. So I'm good with moving on here because it's tough to decipher that one, especially at the number. This one is intriguing too, Maddie. Lerone Murphy taking on Dan 50K Ige at featherweight. Guess what? We got rankings on the line here. Murphy minus 260 over the durable veteran that always seems to hang around. What do you think about this fight with Chuck? Because this is another one where I was very surprised by my model's result.
I Leroy Murphy costed me so much money in that Barboza fight.
Oh,
I had
not
him,
getting a finish?
dude. He
Yeah.
beat the breaks off of Barbosa. How did he survive, dude?
Yeah.
Beat the absolute breaks off of him
Yeah.
early, and then the fight went on and on and on, and then he just started to recover and recover. But I mean, what was the actual scorecard on that fight? I need to look that up real quick. Lerone Murphy scorecard over Barbosa. I need to see this because I'm like genuinely curious now.
Wasn't it like it had to have been like
50
50?
44.
Yeah.
It was a complete beatdown. This dude, Lerone Murphy, is legit, but Dan Ige is Dan Ige. That's the problem.
Yep.
You know, so like gun to my head, I go Murphy decision. Dan Ige really impressed me on that short notice fight, though. You know, he really did.
Diego. Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like it's a sell spot on him now because of that. You know, and like we actually talked about this on the pod. I was telling you, Moicano actually believes that when it's that short of a notice and you live in Vegas and you're in shape and training, it's actually more of an advantage for Dan Ige
I agree
than
with that.
someone on full camp like Diego Lopez, who was training for a grappler in that fight, you know? So this could be a sell spot here. I love Dan Ige. I love his coach. It's tough. I think Lerone Murphy's the real deal. I hate that he didn't put Barbosa away. That was so
Yeah.
crazy to me. And who's he finished recently? He finished who was before Barbosa. They didn't put Josh Kulabau away. He finished it was 3 straight decisions. Gabriel Santos. He's 3 straight decisions for him, and
Yep.
one was split. You know, he doesn't have a ton of finishes against high level guys. He really has been a scorecard guy. And Dan Ige is literally one of the most durable guys you can imagine.
Yeah.
Makes it really tough. Never been knocked out, never been subbed. The dude's lost 8 times by decision, though. 7 and 8 on decisions. So he's batting under 50% when it goes to the scorecards here. Lost to Bryce Mitchell, Evelev, Josh Emmett. The Josh Emmett one's the one I don't like because, like, I just feel like when you compare Josh Emmett to Murphy, the level of technicality and striking is just huge gap.
Agreed.
You know, so that's the one that's like you lose a unanimous to Josh Emmett. Can you really beat Lerone Murphy here? I don't know that the answer is yes. I mean, Topuria made Emmett look silly with his boxing. I mean, absolutely silly. So I got to go Murphy by decision here as my pick. I'd assume that that's minus something or a minus 110 or probably similar.
It's minus 125. It's minus 125.
And I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. It's just I keep playing this small because I keep waiting for it. It's like Dan Ige's never been finished is like this super public trend, and I'm like, maybe somebody could get him at some point. Now Murphy's not a great candidate. He's not a guy. We just saw him have 25 minutes in a fight that he was dominating and not get a guy out of there. So it's like realistically, I think this is Murphy decision. Like the biggest reason why, Maddie, is that Murphy has the tool that you need to beat Dan Ige, which is wrestling. Ige 59% takedown defense. What all those guys you listed, Bryce Mitchell won that fight. Like everyone but Emmett that you listed, I'm gonna go through it. Like Diego Lopez got him down in the 3rd round to decide the fight. Ivloyev, Chan Sung Jung took him down 3 times in a 25-minute fight. Like Murphy wrestles, does it well, 52% takedown accuracy. At worst here, I think he can take.
Fight to go the distance minus 280. Does that not seem cheap to you?
It does. When I think if there is a guy that has finishing equity here, it's Ige, and probably quick. But that's just because he's got that one shot and go power. But Murphy's been very durable. Obviously,
that would be electric, dude. What was I gotta look now. What a round 1.
So round 1 is plus 1100 for Ige. So round 1 KO.
Oh my god, it's got to be around the same number. Oh my god, plus 1600 for a round 1 Dan Ige KO.
Yeah,
and he's had a full camp on. He's had a full camp on this one, right?
Yeah. I honestly think Ige's power is a little bit overrated. You look at his 0.83% knockdown rate. It's good, but it's not great. And I feel like, you know.
The Andre Feely knockout was nice. Damon Jackson, round 2. Gavin Tucker, right cross. Problem is he loses to carbon copy versions of Lerone Murphy by decision. Calvin Kattar. Yeah. I mean, not really but similar. Calvin Kattar, Korean Zombie. Josh Emmett and Kattar, I think, are the But these are, they're back in 2020, 2021. I do think Ige is light years ahead of where he was in 21.
Yeah,
Um, it's a tough one, bro. I would just, I think there's some really good overs that you can parlay on this
yeah,
card, like two or three of them parlayed. So let's move on though. But I think
yeah,
gut says Lerone Murphy by decision. But I'd rather just take the fight to go the distance here. Could be a split.
yeah. It could be.
Let's
It definitely.
go.
Oh, you excited for this one?
I'm
I
so
am
excited.
too. I've already got a little bit of
He
action on
better
it
make
here.
weight though. He better fucking make weight.
Yeah,
And
and
this,
not
if
pull out.
dude, this is to me, this is the well, no, you can't even say it's the people's main event because it's Holloway Topuria as the people's main event and the actual main event. But
Yeah,
dude, this is a dual main event as far as I'm concerned. This fight has so much hype behind it, and there's a lot of questions to be answered here for
yeah,
Hamzat. I hope
yeah.
he makes weight. He grew his hair out. He said he's healthier. He said he's mentally healthier. He said he was dealing with depression. I don't know if you saw that.
Interesting.
Um,
I didn't.
yeah, so I don't know. I talk to Pat Downey all the time. It's one of my best friends who they literally flew him to Abu Dhabi to train grappling and wrestling with him. That was probably under a year ago now, or 6 months ago or so. Um, he said, "Dude, Hamza is the real deal." And obviously, he's probably a little biased, but like, part of me thinks that Whitaker can stuff the takedowns and put him way late, and the other part of me is like, Hamzat's gonna choke this dude out in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Which, so I go back and forth with it. I'll let you tee it off before I give you my opinion.
I love Kamaev early here, bro. The level of physicality we saw Whitaker struggle with against Duplessis, that is Kamaev to the max, right? Like he is. I've called him in a lot of stuff that I've written for getting ready for Friday. I've called him the greatest storm to weather in UFC. Nobody comes out hotter
Yeah.
and with more pressure than Hamzat, and it's like Whitaker struggled with that. Now, this is very similar to the Alaskarov matchup I just got burned in, right? Like, I liked Ikram in that fight. Ikram got chinned. We have seen Hamzat take on these power punchers, Usman,
Yeah.
Gilbert
But
Burns. Like,
Ikram
guys,
didn't want to. Like Hamzat doesn't give a shit. He'll just shoot.
no.
Ikram
Yes.
started dicking around and striking with him,
Yes.
and it was just camera, bro.
You unplugging stuff over there, Manny?
No, I
But,
don't know
like,
what it is, man. This camera, I don't understand it.
yeah, but either way, Maddie, I think Hamza. I was curious to see what the numbers were going to come in because it's just such to me an obvious angle that I want to be part of. He's minus 260 money line, but like
Yeah.
he's plus 100 to win round 1 or 2 or 3. I don't even think you need to include round 3. If Hamzat is winning this fight, I think it's in the first couple of rounds because we've seen him fade badly. Hamzat round, let's see, round 1 is if I can find it. Gosh, I'm struggling on FanDuel right
It's
now, but
probably like 2-1.
it's plus 280 is what I saw yesterday.
That's just the finish.
Yes, any finish.
I love that number.
Plus 270 now, round 2 plus 550. I think I'd make my main play round 1. But like honestly, I think sub. Like, what do you think of that?
I like sub too, but I don't know. I've talked to a lot of guys that think like the problem is so like whose defensive submission ability is better? Like, is it Whitaker or Kamaru? Because Kamaru is more of a wrestler,
Yeah,
but like Hamzat, oh my god, early. I know it was a short notice fight for him, but Hamzat like ragdolled him early. But Kamaru just got into a position on his hands and knees where he couldn't be put away, but he was just taking damage. And I'm just wondering, like Whitaker, like Duplessis was able to do that in the second round, and it's tough. I do believe Whitaker is super prepared for this fight. And that's the part that scares me about backing Hamzat 1 too, because there's a lot more question marks with him. Whereas Whitaker, but this is the sell high spot of the year on Whitaker. He just put away a Dagestani with a sick uppercut in round 1. Like, when's the last time Whitaker put anyone away that early?
I had the answer. It was back in 2016. Was the last time he had a knockout.
Yeah, and that was a short notice fight. Guy traveled probably across the country.
Yeah.
I mean, across the world. Like,
Do you
but I
remember
mean,
our discourse from the Alaskarov fight? Because I played Alaskarov sub on the basis that
yeah,
Whitaker really just didn't fight any of these dudes that were going to try to take him down and submit him. It was a lot of
yeah,
Adesanya, Cannonier, Gastelum. Like none of these
nobody.
guys. I love sub here. I've got it. Actually, I'm flipped from the market where they say knockout is more likely. I've got sub 34.3%, KO 23.9%. So I'm gonna play Hamzat round 1-2, and then I'm gonna ladder round 1-2 sub behind it.
Mm,
I think
yeah,
he takes it down. I really think this is an even better spot to play the Aliskerov angle that just to me, unfortunately, like you said, I think Ikram dicked around at distance too long. But
yeah,
I still believe in that angle that I had that day.
yeah. Dude, what the hell? Round 1 sub for Hamzat's plus 750.
It's longer than knockout, which is I've got it opposite. I think it's more likely.
Oh my god, that's a massive number. And then round 2's 14-1.
Yeah,
Which if he is healthy and improved, there is a chance that, Whitaker weathers a storm round 1 and Hamzat still has enough left in the tank
yeah,
to get him to the ground in round
yeah.
2. I mean, let's look at his finishes. So 5 wins by knockout, 6 by submission. That Darce choke against Kevin Holland was nasty. And honestly, Kevin Holland is a black belt. And it was not easy to finish that Darce choke on him or to get him to that position. Let's see. Then we have the Leech round 1 sub.
Yeah.
Gerald Mearshart, that was just a quick KO. Reese McKee was a ground and pound. John Phillips Darce choke. The Darce choke, I think it's a rear naked choke in this one.
Yeah, I do
I think
too.
he gets the back, dude.
I do
He
too.
has so many. So if you look at his round 2, so he does have 3 round 2 submissions.
Yeah.
The John Phillips fight, was that his debut?
Yes, it was. That was his UFC debut.
Yeah, that was a round 2 Darce choke, and then prior to the UFC, the fight before Brave CF 27, he had a round 2 submission, and then everything else has been pretty much round 1 sub or KOs. It's tough. What do you think? But what do you think he's gonna weigh in at? What do you think his weight's gonna be once he's in the octagon?
From 185, probably like 215.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just he's so massive for this division. Like I'm a little spooked by the way, but I see a narrative around this fight, Maddie. You can correct me. I feel like Whitaker. Everyone's like, well, if Whitaker can weather the storm, I don't. I actually think it's more likely that Hamzat would control at least 3 rounds of this fight and could win a decision, even if Rob survives. Than Hamzat automatically fading. Like if he has absolutely toyed with him, he faded in the Usman fight. I don't know. I don't know if Whitaker will provide as much resistance. I really don't.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen a lot of guys try to actively grapple with that much pressure against Rob, and Dreykus did a little bit and seemed to have quite a bit of success.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
I'm torn
I'm
on
with
this
you.
one.
I think the main.
I'm not really
is,
torn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
You're
just need to take we need to take a look now on just the round props. I guess you could say round KO round props, right? So Whitaker round. I mean, it's just stupid. It's stupid not to put a 1/10 of a unit on these, bro. In all honesty,
that's true.
Whitaker round 3 KO 2100, round 4 KO plus 2400, round 5 KO plus 2600.
Yeah.
Imagine the late round sub props of Hamzat's just gas. I gotta take a look. They're 120 to 100. No, 120 to 1 in round 3, 140 in round 4, 140 in round 5.
Just take his round props at that point. Like you get Whitaker round 3, 1900, 2200, 2300 for like end fights.
Yeah, shit.
I honestly, but like you talk about buy low, sell high. Hamzat looked really poor by his standards in that fight against Usman. Whitaker's stock couldn't be any higher off that Ikram knockout. So like, I almost feel like minus 260 is a bargain. I parlayed Hamzat at like minus 250, something like that. So I like him.
Yes, sir. All right.
To
the main event.
Hold on one second. boom. If there is a graphic that deserved it, it is this main event, this featherweight absolute banger. Maddie, after one of the most emphatic wins in UFC history, Max Holloway could get any fight that he wanted. He chose his old belt, featherweight 145 against Ilia Topuria. We will benefit from it. Ilia and Max will square off for 5 rounds in this main event for Topuria's title. We talked a little bit about this one. Matt, I'm so curious what your angle is. I genuinely have no idea. And I think there are a lot of different factors in this fight. So what do you think about this one, man?
Ilia Topuria by submission plus 550. Don't
Really?
overthink it. Yes.
Really?
Let me
Why do you
explain
like
something
sub?
to you. I'm gonna tell you exactly why I like the sub because Ilia Topuria is a high intellect guy that comes out with a stylistic game plan. He's extremely well rounded, if not better, with his jiu-jitsu than his hands, which is saying a lot. And this dude likes to talk and promote fights, but he's gonna put the wrestling shoes on for this fight. He's gonna close the distance with his hands, get the fight to the ground. Max Holloway is tall and lanky relative to Ilia Topuria. And I'm telling you, he's going to come forward with boxing and shoot the double leg takedowns, get the fight to the ground. We see him submit Bryce Mitchell. We
Mm-hmm.
see his elite jiu-jitsu. Holloway's never been knocked out. And everyone's talking about this is the guy that's going to knock out Max Holloway. I'm telling you right now, Ilia is a smart dude, man. He doesn't he knows how to sell fights. He knows how to make himself one of the biggest names in the UFC. But when it comes to the matchup and the stylistic matchup, I'm telling you, he's gonna go in there and do the easiest path to victory for him. And I think it's with the wrestling. I really do. I think he closed the distance with the striking and he implements the wrestling. We all know Max is has an insane chin. I just think that there's a massive difference in pure jujitsu and grappling ability, although Max isn't a slouch there.
Yeah. Maddie, I don't hate that take at all. I've got sub modeled plus 605, so I'm not that far off the books, really. I've got much wonkier results, especially in a fight this weird where the only thing is that Holloway's a notoriously really hard guy to take down. 84% takedown defense. Um, Assuming he makes weight okay, he might even be a little bigger than the last time we saw him at 145 because of the trip upwards. So I
Mhm.
think both of these guys are really hard to take down. I see this fight being primarily standing. I think Ilia's got a lot of confidence in his boxing. The part that spooked me until I saw FanDuel put out their odds is that the most likely outcome of the fight I have is Ilya by knockout
I
at
know.
plus one.
It's a
It's
trap.
so yeah, it's so weird to me given Max Holloway's thing is not getting knocked out. 29 UFC fights, never been knocked
Yeah.
out. He's never been knocked down in over 2,200 significant strikes. Like now
I
you're
think he
telling me
did
a whole
once, but they
is
never
that
counted it as one.
well, so official inarguable knockdown
Yeah. Right,
zero.
right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
zero. And it's
Let
like
me, bro, let me explain something to you. This guy,
yeah.
Holloway, I know it's lower level competition, but 7. His first 7 fights in MMA were by submission. All round one submission wins.
Ilya, yeah,
Triangle,
yeah. Ilya's
Ilya.
outstanding. Yeah.
Bro, this is the perfect matchup to implement it. You know, Holloway is, and this is also, if Holloway tries to throw kicks in this fight, I could see him trying to pull a Moicano, trying to catch a kick and then take the back because
Sure.
that's the way you get Holloway down here. Because I don't think Holloway wants to do just straight boxing match with Ilia, right? He wants to make it more of a kickboxing match and move around a lot and start to chop the leg, and start to throw the head kick. We've seen footage of that's like Ilya's kryptonite is, right? Is throwing the head kick to his right side. We
Yep.
saw what's his name at 55 do that. Um, the kickboxer at 55 that knocked Ilia down in the first round. The
Oh,
head
Jai
kick.
Herbert. Jai
Jai
Herbert. Jai
Herbert,
Herbert.
thank you.
Yeah,
So we've seen Jai Herbert do that, and we've seen a couple other fighters that didn't land knockdowns, but have landed something small on to the right side. So you got to wonder if Max Holloway's looking at that with throwing some head kicks here, chopping the legs as well. I think that Ilia could look to maybe catch a kick and get take his back and get him to the
sure.
ground here. And I think it's live. I really do. I also think just traditional takedowns could be live here for him.
Yeah. Didn't Max give his back a lot in that fight with Gaethje? He was doing a lot of spinning, if I remember correctly. Like he was giving his back a lot with spinning, but like, yeah, it'll be curious what Ilya's game plan is in this fight. I wasn't surprised at all by my model's result here, which the recommended bet here Holloway decision. I see plus 5.5 on another site at plus 100. I think
Yeah.
that's like I generally lean for this fight to go the full distance. Um,
Yeah.
and I it's interesting that my model believes a vast majority of Topuria's win equity is inside the distance, but that's because Holloway is a guy that they are very different in terms of striking volume historically. Well, I was surprised when I watched that Topuria Volk fight back. It was very close on the feet, Maddie. I think you're onto something just by the fact that if Ilia tries to stand for 25 minutes with Max, I think there's a very good chance he could lose. So what does
Yeah.
he do differently, you know? And that's where maybe you do open up the sub prop, but I honestly kind of think Max is able to thwart his grappling efforts. I'll be betting this fight. I'm pretty sure Holloway like decision related outcomes.
Mm. Yeah. I feel that.
If Topuria
Is
doesn't
there
get the sub, and you could bet
is
both.
is there any part of you that would take Holloway like in the championship rounds, like 75-1 against Justin Gaethje round 5, or even like a round 3,
Honestly,
4, or 5?
those numbers are even shittier now because of how
I
that
know,
last fight
but
ended.
they're still like 30s,
Yeah.
40s, 50s. I think, right?
But that relative to what they should be against a guy in Topuria that's never lost really showed just that one moment of durability. And by the way, Max down at 145, I just don't see him as a super powerful guy. Like people are saying, well, he put out Korean Zombie cold. He had the Gaethje moment that was a little reckless. I
Yeah.
still don't see him as a power threat personally.
No, I mean Korean Zombie just went out on his shield to retire.
He
Like
did.
he's like I'm just going out or I'm getting it myself.
Both of
Uh,
them did. I
both
don't see
both
Ilya
yeah.
doing that.
No, of course not. That's and again, the wrestling is how I think he wears him down. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
No one's talking about that. Ilya's gonna implement the grappling in this fight, close the
yeah.
distance. I really believe that's how the fight goes. I don't whether he gets the sub or not is to be determined, but I just think that it's live.
I will have to do some extreme examination if Max, because the last time we talked about a guy being a better boxer than Max, it looked like that Holloway Cater fight that was like a landslide. Remember, everyone was like, "Well, Cater might be the better boxer than Max in this particular matchup." We're doing that a little bit again here with Topuria, where he did look good, and honestly, his boxing looks the closest to an MMA fighter that to Canelo Alvarez that exists anywhere on planet Earth. I mean, it's like a mirror match of like what his boxing looks like. Where I still think Holloway's a guy that is the all-time leader in significant strikes. He is incredibly hard to beat convincingly distance. One guy has done it. It was Volkanovski in the third fight against each other. And at that point, I feel like Volkanovski was on top of the world, apex prime. Topuria may not be there. He's certainly not there analytically at only 27. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mm. This is tough, bro. This
I
is a
like your
tough
sub
one.
angle.
Yeah.
I prefer the bet to the KO bet, I think.
I might go first fight of the night sub, last fight of the night sub.
You love that.
That'll be a nice parlay. What was the first one again?
Rinat Topuria. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I will say that I
Dude,
don't
that's smacking, bro. Hold on. I need one more though. I need a middle. I need something like a sandwich. There's bread here, bread at the bottom. I need something in the middle. And I go 1, 2, 3 sub here. Let me take a look.
let's look here.
I don't know if you'll be in on that sub parlay with me, but I
You
gotta.
want to throw Petrosian in and just go bananas?
No, no, no. I would rather just straight bet that. Um, yeah, no.
There's
Oh
really
no,
not.
I know what I'm doing, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta go Hamzat.
Oh yeah, sure. I love
So, all
Hamza.
right, let me chat. I want to know if you guys like this or not. Okay, I'm gonna send this to Mike. We're gonna put it on the screen here, dude. This could pay huge. Hold on.
Maddie sub.
Where's
The
the?
intro because
Oh,
we
I can't do it because it's FanDuel in the first fight.
Oh, we
So
don't have
annoying.
Renat sub yet. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna go Bruno Ferreira. That would be insane, dude. I gotta just take a look here.
Yeah.
That would be insane if somehow Bruno got it done.
Yeah, the chat would say, "Hey, you should put a boost in there by sub." It sounded like a lot of our fans here were thinking more a boost late sub type of fight.
That is doable too. You know, that's the
Yeah.
crazy thing. Let's see if I can find another one I like. Orlobai too is live, but I liked his knockout.
Yeah, we like
I don't want
Orlobai.
to force. I don't want to force a sub parlay just because we don't have numbers, though. That's the problem.
Yep. Well,
Um,
Maddie, if you can build it on a different site, we can just give out text. We don't have to. We don't have to share a screenshot or anything like that.
Let me see if I can.
This is just a reminder. Maddie's working around my restrictions. FanDuel odds only for me as a FanDuel employee, so I appreciate him doing so.
All
All
right,
right,
well, let's build a safe
let's.
parlay
I
for
was gonna
now.
say,
Yeah.
so we got something to throw up because Maddie, everyone knows the dynamic that makes our show work. You are the long shot guy. You are the long shot legend and long shot king. Therefore, I have been dubbed a new nickname by our production staff, so they'll throw it up there. Let's see if we can get it up there. There it is. So there. I am the safe parlay. That is my. If there was a betting style, it is a safe parlay from me. I play it safe. I'm conservative. I'm taking decision props. That is my angle on the show. So I am Austin's safe parlay Swaim. So that's my nickname. So I guess we'll build one of me or what I would do in terms of a parlay on this card. What are we thinking, Maddie? As far as legs, there are a few money lines we liked. We talked about a total, like I forget which fight it was to not. Was it Bruno to not start round 3 that we were looking at? I could see that
Um,
one round 3 though.
yeah. Let's stay away from that one.
Yeah.
I think you want to put Hamzat in there, right? Or should we stay away just because
Ooh.
it is
Ooh.
It is
Yeah.
Robert Witt. It's hard to bet against Whitaker in a safe parlay, though.
That's true.
Why don't we
I
go?
think
Why
the
don't we
like.
go?
Yeah,
Ige Murphy fight to go to distance -280 leg 1.
I like it. Yeah,
All right.
I like it there. So fight to go the distance
Yeah.
-280.
Then
What do
next
you
we
think
could.
about oral by KO decision -160?
I'm in on that.
Nice.
Are you putting
I
this
think that's
together?
a
Or you want
great.
me to?
I am. I'm putting it together.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we could go
So we are
Neal.
plus
We could
120.
go Geoff Neal KO decision as well,
Ooh, yeah. What do we get there?
or we just take money line.
So there is a difference. It's -280 for KO decision, -340. There is a difference, and he's not subbing him. That gives you plus 199 on the dot. Do we want to add one more?
Oh, it's only +1. Maybe we do go.
What about Basharat Hugo goes the distance?
I just hate that fight. Something sketches
Okay,
me out
sure.
about it.
Okay,
I mean,
don't
we could
blame
just, yeah. Um, let's see. What if we go? Wait, do we have Fakhretdinov in there?
What about? No, we don't. Do you just want to toss his money line in? What about Naurdiev? Do you like is?
No, it's
Okay.
tough for the parlay. All right, yeah, let's go.
What I was gonna recommend maybe like a time prop in Ankalaev Rakic.
I'd rather just go. I just don't think Fakhretdinov loses that fight.
Okay, I
I'm down
trust.
to. I'm down to do that.
You had a good argument. So those four together, it's plus 319. So I will put this
Is that
in
enough?
text.
Is that enough juice or enough
I'm
payout?
safe parlay swim, man. I was happy at
All
plus
right,
199.
all right. Let's run it.
I just want to win. You know,
Guys. You have to remember. We have to remember. We can't like people commenting Topuria, Magomedov. We have. It has to be something we kind of like agreed on throughout
yeah,
the stream. It
it's a
can't be
squad
something we're it can't be something we're split on.
yeah.
So we
It's a
can't
squad
do Topuria. We can't do Ankalaev.
So we'll get that.
Oh, that was a good one. Petrosian Magomedov over.
I don't want to say Petrosian's round 1 equity is 0 there. I mean, Shara's defense is bad. It's really
Okay,
bad.
let's keep it out then. All right, let's see what that is.
Okay, so our safe parlay this week, we've got Fakhretdinov money line. We've got Neal KO decision. We've also got Orlobai KO decision,
Yeah.
and then we've got Murphy Ige to go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you throw all those together, it is plus 319, right in safe parlay Swaim's wheelhouse, baby.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I put that in. We got that comment in chat as well as we'll get a screenshot up here. All right, Maddie, long shot
All right,
time. I
let me
actually think we
sell
got some
you.
good ones.
Let me sell you on one real quick. Oh, I got it. I got you. You're gonna like this.
Okay.
I'm gonna do something I don't do very often. I'm gonna do it's what's it called in baseball when guys get like a single, double, triple,
Oh, a cycle.
a cycle. All right.
Oh, I like that.
I'm gonna go a cycle here. We're gonna go
Okay.
one guy by decision, one guy by knockout, one guy by submission.
I love that, dude. What can I recommend the knockout, bro?
I got Jeff
Or did
Neal
you?
plus 200.
I was gonna throw Jeff Neal in there. Sick. Let's
All right.
go.
This doesn't pay. I mean, it's 20-1. It's still technically a long shot. You know, I like my long shots in the 40 plus range, but we'll take it at 20-1. We're going Jeff Neal by knockout, leg number 1 plus 200.
Okay.
We're going Magomed Ankalaev by decision minus 110, and we're going Hamzat Chimaev. Oh yeah, you didn't like that one. Fuck.
Can we swap to Murphy decision?
Hold on. All right, we're going Hamzat by sub plus 270.
Agreed.
Jeff Neal by knockout plus 200. And then I'm just scared on. I am a little scared on.
You scared on Murphy, bro? What do you think he's gonna finish him?
No, I think I started overthinking the Dan Ige round 1 and then the split decision. I do think it makes sense, but oh, I know what it is. Oh, dude, you're gonna love this. This is gonna pay huge. We're going Ismail by decision.
Oh yes, man, perfect, perfect.
51-1 now. This is smacking, bro.
Oh, I think this shit is hitting. I love this parlay.
Oh my god, this is fucking hitting. Hold on.
The cycle long shot.
I'm sending this over. I'm sending this over to Mike right now.
I'll put it in our text chat as well. So this is our cycle long shot parlay. You like the Yankees or the Dodgers to win the World Series, Matty?
I have no idea. I that sport's too slow for me. I like knockouts. I like submissions. I like fast shit. I can't watch baseball, bro. All right, here I put it in the Telegram. Mike, you got to put this one on the screen, dude. I really think that's hitting. I'm going right to the counter. I'm going right to the counter, and I'm putting a rack, maybe 2 bands to win 100 on that.
Yeah,
all right, put that bitch on the screen, bro. Get that safe parlay off the screen. We want to see the long shot.
Yeah,
50-1 long shot. This thing's gonna print, bro. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Oh,
guys, when this comes on the screen, you better screenshot it and you better go to the counter because here it is. Look at that.
You and I have not loved a long shot parlay like this in a long time. Sometimes we throw a couple subs together. I love this idea by you, and I love this parlay. A cycle, and if it hits, we'll do it again next week because I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I really like the cycle. The hardest leg is our first leg, you know?
I think so. You're
trusting Bruno Silva to survive.
It is a post new gloves decision, right? So like at the same time, it's like, okay, Naurdiev's not a guy with a ton of regional submission danger either. My model loves decision in that fight. So that was a perfect call by you. So there's our 2 parlays. I'm going to play them both as soon as we get off here and track. My full card is going to come out tomorrow. I need to avoid the prop market. I am not a DFS wizard like my guy Hey Jive. It's been killing me the last few days, but I'll put out my full betting card tomorrow. Maddie, your stuff probably coming Friday night, early Saturday, right?
Definitely Friday because the card's too early. Yeah, Friday.
We got an early start, so we got to get our bets locked and loaded before pretty much coffee time on Saturday, at least where I'm from here. So absolutely thrilled to have you guys. I appreciate you guys all tuning in for our 308 preview. I got to check here. I think we got a show next week. Maybe it's a travel day. Let's see. Is this next week? November 2nd. I think this is next week. Yeah. Okay. It is next week. So we got the card Edmonton, Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi, the main event. Oh, wow. There. So got another live show. Should be a good one as well. Until next time, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to take those parlays and screenshot them so you don't lose them. We love those ones. But until next time, guys, take care and we hope all your bets cash.
Now we got a long shot parlay. You pick one long shot, I pick one, and we put it in a parlay. Method of victory.
Don't we both like span sub 7-1?
Yeah, we do.
What about McGee sub at 8-1?
The thing is, bro, you print money just taking Tim Means to lose by submission. It really is crazy.
That's plus 7,100 right there. Those two together.